Welcome to video 3 of 3 for ratios in similar solids. This last video is going to be looking at and finding the impact on volume or surface area whenever we change the measurements of one of those. Alright, so looking at this first one, it says that the radius of a circle is doubled. What effect does that have on its area? So first we want to think of what is the area or the formula for the area of a circle. And hopefully we all know by now that that is pi r squared. If you don't remember, you can always go to your formula sheet. Alright, if you just type in Geometry SOL formula sheet on Google, it'll pop right up. And you can go to circle and you can see that the area is pi r squared for a circle. Okay. So we have pi r squared here. Alright, so the area is pi r squared. That's just how it normally would be. But we are now comparing that and doubling the radius. So now instead of having just 1r, we are going to have 2r and still squaring it. Alright, so I'm just taking that same formula and doubling this radius. Okay, so now right here, I want you to cross out anything that is exactly the same. So we have pi's on both sides that are exactly the same. We have an r squared, but then we have a 2r, which is squared. All right, so those aren't exactly the same. We're going to keep those for now. All right, so this is going to stay r squared. And then we have our ratio. And we're going to distribute that squared because we're trying to make it look exactly the same on both sides. We're going to distribute that squared. So this is going to be 2 squared, which is 4. And then r squared, which is going to become r squared. All right, so again, we're going to cross out anything that is exactly the same on both sides. So this is going to be exactly the same to that one. Now we have r squares that are exactly the same. So the only thing left over here is going to be a 1. And the other side of the ratio is going to be a 4 left over. So our ratio is 1 to 4. So the effect that doubling the radius has on the area is that it is going to be 4 times larger. All right, go ahead and pause the video. Try the next one by yourself, and then we will come together and do it together. Okay? So this next one, it says the radius of a cone is tripled and its height is multiplied by 4. What effect does this have on the volume of our cone? So we want the volume of a cone. So I'm going to go to my formula sheet. I'm going to look at my cone, and the volume is 1/3 pi r squared h. So I'm going to go back here. So we want 1/3 pi r squared h. All right, so 1/3 pi r squared h. All right, so that is going to be my left side. But we are tripling the radius and multiplying the height by 4. So now we have to add in those factors. So we still have 1/3. That doesn't change. Pi doesn't change. R is now being tripled. So instead of just r, it is now going to be 3r squared. And then h is being multiplied by 4. So now we're going to have 4h. All right, so at this point, go ahead and cross off anything that is exactly the same. So 1/3 and 1/3 is going to be exactly the same. Pi and pi are exactly the same. We have r squared, but then we have 3r and all of that together squared. So that's not exactly the same. And then we have an h, but right now we're in parentheses and we have 4h. So those aren't exactly the same either. So let's drop down what we did not cross off. So we have our r squared h and our ratio symbol. And on the right side, I'm now going to simplify this a little bit. I'm going to distribute that squared. So 3 squared is going to be 9. And then I have my r squared. And then 4h, I'm just going to drop those parentheses. So this becomes times 4h. So again, I'm going to cancel anything that is exactly the same. So now I have my r squared and r squared that are exactly the same. And my h aren't parentheses anymore. So I'm going to get rid of that h as well. So over here, I'm going to be left with 1 because everything is gone. And over here, I have 9 times 4. 9 times 4 is going to be 36. So we have the ratio of 1 to 36. So whenever you triple the radius of a cone and multiply its height by 4, that means that the volume is going to be 36 times larger. Whew, that is a lot bigger. All right, so that is video 3 of 3. Thank you for watching.